Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your weekly dose of fantasy football. It is officially fantasy football draft season. I would highly recommend it, guys. If you are in a league, make sure you wait until week 3 of the preseason ends. There's a lot of starters that are going to be playing. We understand, we want to be drafting guys that are healthy. Obviously, a lot of people, if your draft was before last week, maybe taking someone like Travis Etienne in the 5th round, who I absolutely loved this year. So unfortunate what happened to Etienne. You can see it right here. He had it looked like a mild foot sprain. I thought, he's maybe out 3 to 4 weeks. He's out for the season. That's been confirmed. Now, obviously, that'll raise the value of James Robinson significantly. Guys, my take on it, I'm really not all that into James Robinson this season. His value is going to raise. He's the clear-cut number 1 running back. He had a decent season last year, but do be careful. The Jacksonville Jaguars have basically nothing invested into James Robinson. He's a former undrafted free agent. Great story, I understand that. But, they're probably going to try some other players there. I think Carlos Hyde is still there running around. Urban got him. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I'm staying away from James Robinson. Obviously, his average draft position is going to be elevated with this news that Travis Etienne is out. We've got Sony Michel being traded to the Los Angeles Rams. Really no fantasy impact for Sony Michel. I wouldn't draft him maybe late in like a 20-team league or a 16-team league. But in terms of 12, 14-team leagues, he's off the radar. More of a pass catcher type. And if you're a Darrell Henderson owner, I wouldn't be too concerned about that. Darrell Henderson, a little bit of a hand injury. He looks to be okay, though. We got the news today that Jameis Winston is starting for New Orleans. If you have Alvin Kamara, this is great news. If you have Marquez Callaway, potential breakout season for him, people drafting him 7th, 8th round now. A lot of hype. He had over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns in their preseason Week 2 game thrown from Jameis. This doesn't surprise me. Taysom Hill was never a legit starting quarterback in the NFL. He can't throw the ball well enough. And I really do think Taysom Hill, as a gadget-type player, you bring him in for a few snaps here or there every game, that's his best role. People want to talk about him being on special teams. I think that's overrated. Just put him in on offense every now and then. He is a missile. He can line up maybe as a receiver, but he's just a guy. He's a big-bodied guy that can really knock over defensive backs. So Jameis being a starter. And again, guys, this is why I'm probably going to talk about this a lot during this video. You don't need to draft quarterbacks early. Jameis Winston, say what you want about the interceptions, things like that. If he has a good matchup, he'll give you 20 points. Please do not waste an early pick on a quarterback, because it is a wasted pick when you should be using your 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round selections on assets in the different running back, maybe a receiver. Use those picks. Get better running backs, receivers, get depth. You don't need to take quarterbacks early, guys. But when it comes to this head-to-head matchup we're looking right here, these are 2 teams. So this is a 12-team full PPR scoring league. You've got Wilson, Kamara, well, obviously Etienne. So this is probably a little bit outdated. Etienne's out, although I did love Etienne. Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown is a great receiver combo. Like Mark Andrews. Chark is a little bit weak. There's just a lot of mouths to feed, and he also has Marvin Jones on his bench. That's weird. Against Matt Stafford, Derrick Henry, don't love Montgomery. I do love DK Metcalf. Robert Woods should be solid. Hunter Henry, don't love him. Juju, I would definitely, if Kamara was healthy, I would have taken team 1 here if Kamara was healthy. Experts versus ADP. They're higher on T. Higgins. So there's actually a situation that I guess I should talk about. I've been telling people to draft Ja'Marr Chase over T. Higgins. Ja'Marr Chase, I'm not bothered at all by his drop issues or anything like that. Guys, let's remember, Justin Jefferson played 20 snaps week 1. He had 1 catch. So it takes a little time for these guys to get acclimated. There are some allegations against Ja'Marr Chase, so I don't really want to comment on that, but I would still draft Ja'Marr Chase later. He's falling in drafts, absolutely. T. Higgins, if Ja'Marr Chase is not there, will definitely get elevated. He'll definitely get a higher target share, but if Ja'Marr Chase is there with Tyler Boyd, Ja'Marr Chase is the most talented player out of those 3 players. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know about the allegations against his girlfriend. I don't know about any of that, but if Ja'Marr Chase plays, I'm still drafting him. I'm still a believer. People keep hating on him due to the drops. Guys have drop problems. It's whatever. Corey Davis being drafted higher. I'm not really interested in Corey Davis personally. Mike Evans, I agree. I'm not picking Mike Evans. And then James Robinson, obviously, there's another thing that's outdated. James Robinson going a lot higher than that at this point due to the ETN injury. There's some more rankings. Mike Davis, good value for Mike Davis. He's a starting running back. He's going to get carries. Damian Harris is an interesting option. Obviously, now with Sony Michel getting traded, I do like Tyler Higbee. He's a tight end I have a crush on. And then Logan Thomas, I do agree with the experts there as well. I would not draft Logan Thomas over a guy like Tyler Higbee. Personally, I love Dallas Goedert. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but you've got Adam Thielen going later, according to the experts. I agree. Brandon Cooks offers some decent value due to him being, a target hog in Houston. Mike Williams going higher. I'm not a fan of Mike Williams. And then Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's whatever. I mean, you're not really worrying about QBs. Players with a rough schedule. So these are quarterbacks that apparently have a rough schedule. Baker, Russell Wilson, Rodgers, Goff. I wouldn't stay away from Goff. Derek Carr, Ryan Tannehill, and then Justin Fields. I really don't know what they mean by, but I guess it's just food for thought. Those are apparently quarterbacks that have hard schedules. It seems like a lot. Like, every schedule is relatively the same. I don't know. I completely agree with this graphic. Don't draft me. Guys, if you're drafting Patrick Mahomes, we always get noobs. I see this in all these mock drafts. Someone takes Mahomes in the second round. Someone takes Mahomes in the third round. If it's a 10-team league, okay, but if 12-team, there's no chance you should be drafting a quarterback before round 6, honestly. So yeah, you can see other options: Ryan Tannehill, Burrow. Personally, I would not draft Trevor Lawrence. Just not really. I don't love rookie quarterbacks' value. But Jalen Hurts, he's a second-year quarterback. He's a guy that can run, maybe get some rushing touchdowns for you. I completely love Jalen Hurts this year. 2021 QB busts and tight end busts. I agree. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be nearly as good as he was last year. I agree with them on Logan Thomas. Kyle Pitts, I don't agree with that. Herbert, we'll see. Maybe they're saying he's a sophomore slump. Higbee, I like. Josh Allen, I think Josh Allen has too much, his running ability. Now, I would never draft Josh Allen because he's going round 4, round 5 in 12-team leagues. You see some of these things, it's crazy. But I think Josh Allen, it's almost impossible for him to be a bust completely due to his rushing ability. Follower hot takes, Laviska Shenault breaks out, finishes the top 15 receiver. It's tough for me to see that with all the mouths to feed in Jacksonville. DJ Chark, Marvin Jones Jr., Julio Jones steps in and surpasses A.J. Brown. I don't see that happening. I think A.J. Brown's going to be really good and the clear number one option in that offense. Damian Harris ends the season as a top 15 running back. That's interesting. I'm interested in Damian Harris. If you need running back depth, he's a guy you could target. Tyler Boyd is Bengals' number one fantasy receiver by a wide margin. No way. Tua proves the doubters wrong. I don't think Tua has many doubters other than his injury problems. I really like Tua. I'm not drafting him in fantasy drafts, but I think he'll have a fine year. I think he's going to be a really good quarterback in the NFL. More follower hot takes. Austin Eckler has a huge season and finishes top 3 in PPR. I could see that. He's a PPR machine. Calvin Ridley takes another leap and emerges as fantasy's top receiver. I could see that too. He's not really battling anyone for targets, maybe Russell Gage, but he should be really good. Now, this take on Julio, he struggles in his new team and is not a top 25 fantasy football receiver. I think Julio would need to be injured for him not to be a top 25 receiver. Juju returns to stardom and scores 10 total touchdowns. There's a lot of mouths to feed in that Steelers offense. Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, they just drafted a running back in the first round. I don't know. Antonio Gibson becomes a true workhorse. See, I'm sick of the Antonio Gibson stuff. You guys, you should know by now how I feel on Antonio Gibson. If there's one player in the first 3 rounds to stay away from, Antonio Gibson, he is this year's Kenyon Drake. You heard it here first. Please do not draft Antonio Gibson. I do have I've been developing this man crush for a while. I have a major man crush on DeVonta Smith. Look at this tweet. I don't think I've seen DeVonta Smith get touched off the line one time at all. All night being 170 doesn't matter if DBs can't even get your hand on you. Anyway, DeVonta Smith had the most dominant season I've ever seen from a wide receiver in college football last year. Winning the Heisman as a receiver. Guys, draft DeVonta Smith. You can get him late. It's a complete steal. I know he's a rookie. He may take a few weeks. You may have to keep him on your bench. Oh my God, is he a stud. Complete stud. So these are some fantasy wide receiver rankings. I think this is a 1 through 40 list. Obviously, the top guys are the top guys. We know that. I think it's interesting. I would personally be drafting DK Metcalf over Allen Robinson, personally. So I think that's interesting. I would also be drafting A.J. Brown over Allen Robinson. With Allen Robinson, I'm just concerned with Andy Dalton there, and then even Justin Fields. I like Justin Fields. I think he can be a star, but there's that rookie quarterback. Is he really going to be able to facilitate a wide receiver number one in terms of fantasy? I don't know. 11 through 20 rankings, I'll take CeeDee Lamb over Amari Cooper. Terry McLaurin is a steal. I think he's really undervalued. Well, I wouldn't say undervalued. He's still going late second round. Robert Woods, that high over Cooper Kupp. I think Cooper Kupp has better value. Chris Godwin over Mike Evans, I agree with. But again, those two guys, you have to understand there's a lot of mouths to feed. A lot of people down on Thielen. Maybe make him a little bit more of a value play. Looking at 21 through 30, I love DJ Moore. The only thing I'm concerned about is the quarterback situation with Sam Darnold. T. Higgins, a little bit high for me. Kenny Galladay, I'm staying away from. Juju, I'm staying away from. Robbie Anderson, I'm staying away from. Michael Thomas now with Jameis in there. I don't know how much time Michael Thomas is going to miss, but he's starting to grow on me a little bit. Maybe in the 5th or 6th round, but again, are you going to be able to get him there? He's a high name. I don't know. Cortland Sutton, I'm staying away from due to the quarterback situation. Odell is an interesting option, kind of a value play there at 30th. 31 through 40, I do like Antonio Brown. He's going later in drafts. I like Deebo Samuel. I like Brandon Cooks. Not so high on Tyler Boyd. Not so high on Chase Claypool. Jerry Jeudy, love him personally. Love the talent. Don't love the quarterback situation with Teddy Bridgewater there. Jamar Chase, obviously there's, extenuating circumstances. I love Jamar Chase personally when it comes to him as a player. Will he play? We'll have to see, but I love him as a player. Curtis Samuel, I'm staying away from. Marquise Brown, I'm staying away from due to the quarterback situation. Oh, it actually goes to 50. Okay. Other guys, I know a lot of, people like Darryl Mooney. We'll have to see what happens with him. There's Devontae Smith, great value there. Russell Gage offers some interesting value, ranked 48th as well. DJ Chark, I didn't realize DJ Chark was ranked that low. He's going a lot higher in terms of actual drafts. So sleepers on all 32 teams. Just going to pick out some guys that I really do like. Amon-Ra St. Brown, if you're in a 12 or 14 team league, use your last pick on him, especially if you're in a 14 team league where you need those assets. Love Amon-Ra St. Brown. Paris Campbell is interesting. Former Buckeye guy I really like. Bryan Edwards. Love Bryan Edwards with Las Vegas. Tyler Higbee is another guy I like. If you're going to get a running back handcuff, I love A.J. Dillon, but I also love Alexander Mattison. I think he's a stud. Obviously, Dalvin Cook, if he's going to be playing, if he doesn't get injured, Mattison is pretty much a waste, but if you need a handcuff, Trey Lance, think he's going to be really good later in the season as well. Guys on this list, I simply would say it's a waste of time drafting. Christian Kirk, there's just too many mouths to feed. Austin Hooper is terrible. Chris Evans, no way. He's not going to do anything. Amari Rodgers, I doubt, will be viable. How about Deshaun Watson? Deshaun Watson, see, this is another reason why you should wait to take quarterbacks. Even if you're someone that's worried, I don't want to have Jalen Hurts as my overall quarterback. You could take someone like Matt Stafford late, start him for a few weeks, but then take, maybe towards the end of the draft, take a Deshaun Watson. We don't know if Deshaun Watson's going to be playing this year. You don't have to invest a high pick into him. It could be a really late bench pick. If he doesn't play, cut your losses, drop him for another quarterback that you're streaming. Guys, take quarterbacks late. It's such a better strategy. Build that depth at the running back position. First 3 rounds, 2 running backs. That's my deal, guys, because I love Dallas Goedert. People are like, ooh, why don't I take George Kittle in the 3rd round, Darren Waller in the 3rd round, Travis Kelce in the 1st? Don't waste a high pick on a tight end when you got a guy like Dallas Goedert. I know Zach Ertz is still there. Dallas Goedert, TE4, you heard it here first. He'll finish as a top 4 tight end in fantasy. I love him personally. So these are some rounds in a 12-team expert fantasy football mock draft. Just looking at this, giving you guys some opinions. How about Davante Adams going 5th overall? I understand the idea of it. I personally wouldn't draft Davante Adams over Zeke or Derrick Henry. Saquon Barkley, that's great value at pick number 9. He's been falling down boards. Start of the 2nd round. So this would be pick number 13 through 24. Calvin Ridley. Yeah, Calvin Ridley's going to go really early. How about Najee Harris going really early as well? Darren Waller going mid-2nd round. Darren Waller over Justin Jefferson, DK Metcalf, and A.J. Brown. I wouldn't be drafting A.J. Brown over Justin Jefferson or DK Metcalf either. Antonio Gibson over Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Come on, dude. I'm sick of the Antonio Gibson stuff. Round 3, CeeDee Lamb going with the first pick of round 3. You can tell these are the experts. That's a really good pick. George Kittle going mid-third round. I like the value there, but again, I would look for a guy like Dallas Goedert later. How about Robert Woods, Darrell Henderson? Lockett is a guy I never like. DJ Moore going towards the end of round 3. How about this start of round 4? You've got Chase Claypool going over J.K. Dobbins. That's a bit disturbing to me. I'm not understanding that pick at all. You must be a huge believer in Chase Claypool. Cooper Kupp, I like it. Lamar, you're not taking quarterbacks that early, especially in a 12-team league. T. Higgins going in the 4th round is ridiculous. DeAndre Swift fell. That's great value. If you're somehow getting DeAndre Swift late 4th round, you're picking T. Higgins over DeAndre Swift. Come on, guys. That's ridiculous. Fantasy football list of my guys. So this dude who kind of has a man crush on these players, I agree with CeeDee Lamb. I love CeeDee Lamb. Deontay Johnson, not so much. A lot of mouths to feed in New England. Like Jalen Hurts. I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I like Jerry Jeudy. I just don't like that quarterback situation. We completely disagree on Antonio Gibson. Yes, there's another late round quarterback you can draft. He's a guy that's going to give you some points. He can run the ball. Ryan Tannehill, get some rushing touchdowns, get some rushing yards. Aaron Jones, I don't like Aaron Jones this year. Chase Claypool. Why would you have 2 Steelers receivers? It's like, that's kind of stupid. Terrence Marshall, no, I'm not buying it with Terrence Marshall. Maybe you're in a 14, 16, maybe a 20-team league. You could find some value with Terrence Marshall. If you guys don't know him, he's a rookie from LSU. Definitely has potential. He's a former 5-star out of high school. But a guy that is really buried behind Robbie Anderson. You know, you've got Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield. He's going to be using some targets. Obviously, we know DJ Moore. And then Sam Darnold. You know, we don't even know if Sam Darnold can facilitate 2 fantasy-worthy wide receivers, let alone 3. Terrence Marshall would need an injury to either Robbie Anderson or DJ Moore to become fantasy relevant in perhaps 12-team leagues, even 14-team leagues, and definitely 10-team leagues. But guys, that is going to do it. Everyone, good luck on your drafts. Hopefully I gave you guys some information, things to take in, guys. My mock draft, or my actual draft with my fans, is coming up on September 1st. We're waiting for the preseason to clear, so we got no injuries to deal with. That Travis Etienne thing scares me. You know, that's why you don't draft early, guys. You draft Travis Etienne, you spend a 4th or a 5th round pick on him in a 10-team, 12-team league. You're left with nothing. You're left with nothing, and the guy who picks James Robinson later kind of has that value, kind of has that leg up just due to an injury that happened in the preseason. Wait until the preseason is over. You've got the preseason week 3, then you've got an off week, and then we've got regular season week 1. So there's a lot of time, a big window in between preseason week 3 and regular season week 1 to get your drafts in. That's what I would suggest, guys. 9 o'clock Eastern time. September 1st, it's going to be a huge thing. We've got a 12-team league. Me and my fans, you know I've got to win it. You guys know I got to win it. I got to show my worth. I understand it. I've done so many mock drafts. I'm 100% confident, guys. But that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. That link's always in the description, guys. I am, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.